What a 24 hours it's been for the drip community. I was watching the Bartertown live stream this morning and Ray dropped an absolute bombshell on everyone. I think we all knew he was going to sacrifice 70,000 drip, right? But on the live stream, to everyone's surprise, he doubled it. He ended up sacrificing nearer to 150,000. I think the reason he did that, he thought the wet wipe brigade was going to come in and try and dump on the party. Now I know the guy's had his fair share of critics. I'm not one of them. I don't tend to criticise anyone. I just focus on what I'm doing. But whatever you say about the guy, he did sacrifice 150,000 drip today, and that is quite the statement he's made there. So I think people are sort of hugely behind that. Everyone's been jumping in on round 37. So there's been a massive sacrifice and a massive drive to sacrifice and ape in to that round. I personally did sacrifice some, I aped in some, so I definitely did my bit. And in fact, the round is actually playing whilst I'm doing this walk and talk. So you never know, when I get back, I might be the proud winner of that 26,300 drip pot. So we shall see. If I am, I'll certainly be letting you know. So a really strong sentiment in the community today. When I left to do this, the price was up 2 cents to 12 cents. Now the bag of drip that I bought last night at 10 cents is looking like a decent snipe. I thought I'd go in at 10 cents because it kind of looked like a psychological level. Now obviously, yes, it can go lower than that if the wet wipes come in and, you know, dump on it again with the last remaining couple of liquid wallets available. But obviously if that does happen, I've got capital on the side where I'm just going to start maxing out my wallets a lot faster. So if it does drop below 10 cents, then I'll be maxing out my first wallet, not in 28 days, but more like in 8 days. So the game remains exactly the same. No change whatsoever. So massive shout out to everyone that jumped in on the incentive today. Big shout out to Ray, Bartertown, big shout out to Driptopian and those guys that were really leading the charge on that. It's a super bullish idea and it could really give us some good momentum going forward. As I've been saying for the last month, there's going to be tons of volatility and that's exactly what we're getting. As I've explained in previous videos, there is some bad actors at play here, but the ammo is running dry. So I'm just staying focused on my goals personally and not getting too wrapped up in what other people are doing. We need the bad actors out anyway. We need to cleanse drip, we need to purge drip, and this is probably a really good time to do it. I was looking at some of the stats before I came out and the liquid drip was around 19.5 million, so that's down a fair amount, and the vault is up at, I think, still 1.1 or 1.2 million. So the foundations are looking strong, the liquid drip is going down, and you know, in my opinion, if you don't want these potato heads, soy boys and wet wipes getting hold of this drip, then you're just going to have to get it yourself. You know, that's not financial advice, but that's what I'm doing. I'm buying up drip so other people can't have it. The liquid supply of drip is going to go down, and the more I own at that time, the better. So that's what I'm doing. I'm grabbing as much drip as I can to keep it out of the hands of the bad actors, and you do whatever you want. But it's been awesome seeing the community respond today like they have done. There's a lot of bullishness and a lot of people realise that the drip price isn't just dropping by magic. It's not just going down by some kind of coincidence, it's going down for a reason. There's people dumping big chunks of drip all at the same time to try and create max fear. And of course, you know, you have the NPCs, you have the weak hands that are kind of falling for these tricks. And it's probably best that they're out as well, to be honest, because we need a strong investor base going forward. We can't have too many weak hands here, so if we can flush them out at the same time, I'm all for it. So the more drip that gets into the hands of maxis, the better in my opinion. But a big reason for this video is I kind of want to tell you a story that's extremely relevant to what's going on in drip right now. Now, about 5 years ago, when I was just sort of dabbling for the first time in things like Bitcoin and whatever, I got talking to a guy at the martial art club I was at the time. He was doing a lot of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, freestyle grappling, catch wrestling. And it was this older guy, you know, probably, not saying he's old, but he was in his early 50s, a lot older than what we were at the time. And he'd appear every now and then. He wasn't like a regular, like we were down there 3-4 times a week for hours on end, just grappling and sparring. But he just to show up every now and then. The guy was hard as nails, right? He was a French dude, and he'd come to the UK, I think in the 70s or 80s with nothing. I think he spent some time on the streets in London, and he started with literally zero, you know? And he ended up building something for himself, and he was hugely into investing. And I didn't understand much of what he was talking about at the time. But I remember one thing that really stuck with me. And that was For there to be rich, there has to be poor. And at the time I was thinking, oh man, that's cold. That's reptilian, you know? And I just didn't understand it at the time. It was kind of above my head a little bit, above my pay grade. And he also said for there to be winners, there have to be losers. And I think what he was trying to get at was that this matrix or video game, or whatever you want to call it, this reality that we live in, is a polarity-based reality. You know, for there to be night, there has to be day. For there to be up, there has to be down. You know, it's just one of those things, and for there to be winners, there have to be losers. And of course, you know, a little while after that, we had the big sort of C19 debacle, and where everyone was panicking and selling everything. And at the time, I just had that little glimmering thought in my head, you know. So I went out and got a second part-time job. I was working full-time, and I went out and got a second job because I wanted just to invest in the crypto prices at the time when everyone was selling. And for me to be buying Bitcoin at $3,000, $4,000, there had to be people that were going to be selling me that $3,000 or $4,000 Bitcoin. For me to be buying Ethereum at $150, there had to be people selling me Ethereum at $150. And it all started to make sense. So the C19 debacle turned out to be the best possible thing that could ever happen to my portfolio. You know, the riches are made at the bottom. The rich people buy the bottoms, the rich people buy the fear. Now I remember this French dude, he was talking about people like Warren Buffett and the Rothschilds and stuff like that, and I didn't really know who that was really at the time. I'd heard the names, but I didn't really know what it was all about. But he was going on about, look, these guys, they buy the fear and the blood. And that sort of stuff stuck with me. Now I didn't see that guy much after that, but the lesson that he told me at the time, that I didn't fully understand at the time, turned out to be probably one of the best lessons I've ever learned personally. So my thesis remains exactly the same in anything that I invest in. Now some things work out, some things don't. But there's not a single potato head, there's not a single wet wipe around that's going to shake me away from that thesis that's done so well for me so far. So when I'm buying drip, when there's all these tears and crying and soy raging going on, I'm doing that for a reason, because like I said, I've invented and patented the inverse fudder index. So the more FUD that I get on my Twitter, the more FUD that I get in my YouTube comments, the more I'm buying. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So whether it's drip, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's XRP, I'm buying that stuff when there's fear and blood in the market. That's my thesis. This is not financial advice. You do what the hell you like. If you want to buy the tops every single time, you go for it. But what I will say, historically, is that that's not going to make you rich. But if you want to do that, absolutely. I don't do that, I buy the bottoms, or I definitely try and buy the bottoms. There's no way of predicting 100% of when you're getting in, but you just have to have a bit of an idea when there's max fear, max blood, max just mania going on. That, for me, is the best time to buy in. Nothing's different. For me, drip, I've never seen this much FUD before. But what I am doing is I'm matching up the FUD with the increase in foundational strength. I'm matching the FUD with the increase in utility. Now, if drip was just kind of just going along right now with no one doing anything, no community, nothing in the pipeline, no roadmap, no utilities being released, then I would probably say, yeah, okay, maybe it's not a great idea to be buying right now. But I'm trying to match up the fear on the streets, the blood on the streets, with what's going on behind the scenes and what's going on in the community right now. There's so many people in drip that will not let drip fail. And I'm one of them. It's my only DeFi play. I'm in a number of crypto projects that I believe in, but drip is my only DeFi play. And as I've always said, in crypto, especially DeFi, I will not put a penny in that I wouldn't take to Vegas and stick it all on red. Do you know what I'm saying? I would not put a penny into DeFi or crypto that I wouldn't be able to just lose overnight and walk away from and shrug it off like a bloke. So when I'm in on something, I'm in on something because I can afford to be in on something. If you're selling drip at 11 cents, 12 cents, 10 cents, maybe if you need to claim it to pay your mum back for that multi-pack of Cheetos, you've over leveraged yourself a little bit should have got a part-time job, maybe you should have got a paper round or something. But look, at the end of the day, you do you. It's not the small sellers really that have been the problem anyway. There's always going to be people selling at these sort of prices. It's just one of these things. It happens in all projects. But for me, if I felt like I had to claim at these prices now, even though most of the drip I've bought has been really under 20 cents, I would be looking at myself thinking, yeah, I over leveraged on that, you know. If I need it to pay bills, or if I need it for something like really important, like my mortgage or whatever, then I'll be taking a hard look at myself and say, you know, probably over leveraged to be selling at these prices. But you know, it's going to happen. And you know, again, not financial advice. You do whatever you want. If you want to over leverage yourself, that's on you. That's entirely up to you. Only you know your circumstances. But when I'm in on something because I can afford to be on something, because I've put in the amount that's comfortable for me to be able to go all in on. If I lose it, I lose it, it doesn't matter. But with drip, it's a calculated risk. Now, scared money doesn't make money. It never has done. The richest people in the world buy when everyone else is selling. And there's a reason why there's a 1%. Because only 1% of people will do that. Only 1% of people have the cojones to do that. And it makes perfect sense because it's scary. When things are crashing around you and there's people, especially now there's social media and stuff, and there's Twitter, and everyone's saying, oh my God, it's going to zero and it's dying, it's dead and all that. It takes balls of steel to be buying, and it doesn't matter whether it's drip or whether it's Bitcoin or whatever. People were telling me Bitcoin was dead when I was buying it at $3,500, you know? But the thesis is what I stick by. I don't care what some dude in his mum's basement says. It makes no difference to me whatsoever. The thesis remains the same, and historically 99% of people always get wrecked, and that's why there's a 1%. That's why they exist, because they do the opposite of what the 99% do. The 99% act like a herd of sheep, and they all panic when the fox turns up, but the fox is ready to take everything they have. And when you're selling at reduced prices, just rest assured there's a fox there just waiting to take that off your hands. And to some degree, you know, I'm not a sort of super crypto whale. You know, I've done pretty well in crypto, but I'm not a super crypto whale. But I'm there ready to take those discount prices from you. And that's just the way things work. It's just part of this reality, this polarity we live in. You know, for night and day, for rich and poor, there always has to be both sides. But it just works out that really only 1% of people ever really do very, very well. And that's because they understand how to manipulate this reality a little bit better than a lot of people do. So, you know, if you've got a thesis, have the confidence to stick to it, you know? Again, do what you like, do what you like. You can be swayed if you want, you know, whatever. But for me, I have a thesis and I'm sticking to it, and that is final. And we'll see if it works out. And I'm happy to see if it works out. I love being part of this community. I love making these videos. I love doing these walk and talks here in beautiful Mexico City. I mean, there's no better place to be sort of walking and talking, getting this vitamin D. I've come straight from the gym. I've had a brilliant morning, chilling out a little bit with the family this morning, made everyone breakfast, and hit the gym, straight out here in the beautiful sunshine of Mexico City, and making this video. So it's an absolutely blessed day, and hopefully when I get home, you never know, I may be the proud winner of that 26,300 drip pot from round 37. If I'm not, no big deal, because you know I'm in it just to help bolster the community. I was going to put drip in the faucet anyway, so I might as well put it through there. And I'll play round 38. I'll play round 39, and I can't wait to sort of keep on playing. I can't wait to see where all this goes, and I just love buying the bottoms. So I'm super bullish on drip. I'm just looking at the utility. I'm just looking at the community, and not paying too much attention to the price at the moment because I know how manipulated it is. So for me, it's not a real true reflection of the price. But we have to go through this, guys. We have to go through this. A lot of us knew anyway before this kicked off that we were going to have to go through a purge. There was all that liquid drip. You know, drip was minting for a reason for all those months, because people were selling and people were sort of getting out, and crypto as a whole had gone sort of down the drain a little bit for a lot of people. So we had all of that liquid drip. They had to mint it so you could get your 1% per day. So we knew we were going to have to deal with this liquid supply at some point, and what better time to deal with it than right now. So the community is strong, the drip token is strong, the contract is exactly the same at 12 cents as it was at $150. Nothing's changed. It's exactly the same code. The code's unemotional. It's only the investors that have the emotion and bring the emotion to the table. So I can't wait to get this video out. I can't wait to enjoy the rest of my day in the sunshine here. And I hope you guys all having an absolutely blessed day, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I hope you're staying hydrated. I hope you're staying bullish. I hope you're doing your bit for the community. And I will see you all in the next video.